All right, welcome. We're diving into this week's Try Launchpad newsletter, but we're not just going to read it to you. We're turning it into a visual roadmap for your own triathlon journey. From that first little spark of an idea, all the way to that incredible feeling of crossing a finish line.
You know, every big adventure starts with a powerful thought. And this quote right here, it just nails the spirit of triathlon. This isn't just about swimming, biking, and running. It's about finding out what you're made of and pushing past the limits you thought you had. This is our starting line. So every great journey begins with what you could call a call to adventure. This is that moment where you hear these incredible stories about what people can do, and it plants a little seed in your mind. It makes you ask yourself, wait a minute, could I do that? Okay, take a look at this number, 80. In the whole world of endurance sports, what could that possibly be? A race distance? Some crazy record? What do you think?
Well, get this. 80 is the age of Natalie Grabo, the oldest woman to ever finish the Kona Ironman World Championship. Seriously. So if you've ever had that little voice in your head telling you you're too old to try something new, her story is a pretty powerful way to shut that voice down. It is never too late.
And that's just the start. This kind of inspiration is everywhere you look. You've got Melanie Barrett, the first blind woman to swim the English Channel. You have athletes like Hayden Wild, who show us that a major setback can actually become the fuel for an amazing comeback. And then you have people like Georgia Taylor-Brown, who's literally turning her race suits into art. Inspiration, you guys, it comes in all shapes and sizes. Okay, so that spark of inspiration is amazing, but it's just the first step, right? Actually heeding the call means taking that big idea and figuring out how to make it happen in the real world. And this is where things like community, safety, and taking action become absolutely crucial. And we've got to be honest about the tough stuff too. The newsletter brings up a really sobering reminder: the tragic loss of 2 cyclists from the Frisco Triathlon Club. It's a heartbreaking event that really underscores the risks that athletes face every time they're out on the road.
So a tragedy like this, it brings up a huge question, right? How does a community even begin to respond to something so awful? How do you channel that grief into something positive, something that creates change?
And here's the answer. The community comes together, they honor their friends, they organize events to raise awareness for cyclist safety, they start pushing for better, safer roads, and they work to build a culture of shared responsibility between everyone on the road. This is how you turn tragedy into lasting change. So you're inspired. You're connected to a community. What's next? Well, now it's time to gear up. This is the practical stage, getting the tools and the knowledge you need to actually start your journey. And what I love about this is that it shows you don't have to break the bank to get started. A smart approach puts the money where it matters most. A solid used bike should be the biggest chunk of your budget, and a good helmet, that is absolutely non-negotiable. The rest can go towards the other stuff you need. It's all about spending smart, not just spending big.
You know, your gear choices really should match your goals. So when you're looking at something like a wetsuit, the Maverick X2 is a fantastic, durable workhorse for most people. But hey, if you're really chasing speed and want more freedom in your shoulders, then maybe upgrading to something like the Pro 3 is worth it for you. It's all about what you need.
Now, picking the right gear is one thing, but picking the right race, that's a whole other level of strategy. Just look at the data from Ironman Waco in 2022. A 31% did not finish rate because of insane weather. That's huge compared to the usual 10–15%. The lesson here is crystal clear. Do your homework and pick a race that sets you up for success.
Okay, you've got your gear, you have a race circled on the calendar. Now for the fun part, mastering the craft. In this section, we're going to tackle some of those common training hurdles with advice straight from the triathlon community.
All right, let's talk about a question that I swear every single triathlete asks at some point. You're feeling great about your swimming, but you feel like your bike and run are suffering. So how in the world do you balance all three without going completely crazy?
And the expert advice is actually super simple, but it is a game changer. Quality over quantity. So instead of these long, soul-crushing workouts, think about shorter, really focused, high-quality sessions for each sport. A 30-minute swim with specific drills will do way more for you than a 90-minute swim just logging junk miles. It's the key to staying consistent and not burning out.
Let's tackle another fear that is so common. This person is fit, they're a good runner, they used to swim, but the road bike itself, and especially those clip-in pedals, they're terrifying. And I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling, right?
And the solution is all about breaking it down. Take it one tiny step at a time. Forget busy roads. Start in a totally empty parking lot.
Practice clipping in and out while you're just standing there, holding onto a wall until it's second nature. Get comfortable with how the bike feels before you add any other stress.
So, you're training, you're building confidence, you're getting it done. Now let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. When you get into triathlon, you're not just picking up a new hobby, you're stepping into this global, constantly evolving sport.
And a huge change is happening right now with the new Triathlon World Tour. Basically, it's a new system that's designed to make the whole pro racing scene easier to understand and, more importantly, create clearer pathways for athletes at every single level to compete.
So what does this actually mean for you, the person just starting out? It means the sport is opening up. There are going to be more opportunities to race, whether your big dream is to finish a local sprint triathlon or to one day compete on a global stage. It's a really exciting time to jump in.
And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? From that first nervous moment clipping into your pedals to the day you hear your name called as you cross a finish line. Your own personal journey becomes part of this huge, shared story of endurance and resilience and community.
So we'll leave you with this one question. After seeing what's possible, after seeing the path forward, what's your call to adventure going to be? What finish line are you going to cross next year?